All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your boy E here, the hostess with the mostest. Make sure you catch the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific time and 11 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure, I always love to see you guys come and enjoy the show. Love to hear you guys' takes. We can talk about it. I'm the host, but ultimately, I'm nothing without you guys. So, make sure you guys stick in with the show. Talk to me. Just to kind of reiterate and reflect on what we talked about, a segment what we talked about a Thursday Night Wrestling review, what's going on in TNA Impact, as well as what's going on in Ring of Honor. After that, we had our WWE SmackDown preview and our WWE draft. I was only able to go 5 rounds, basically because I kind of overdid it with the Thursday Night Wrestling review. But hey, Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor, they deserve love too. Absolutely 110%. But let's go ahead and jump into this next segment. We're going to jump into Vince McMahon on a potential wrestling promotions return. Would anybody love to see it? I am not too sure, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Vince in wrestling, I don't think he's willing to go out on anybody else's terms except for himself. So hey, let's jump right on into it. So there has been recent rumors that Vince and Jeff Jarrett are they're kind of contemplating a potential partnership through the GFW. Oh God, it's so crazy how you want to start with everything concerning Vince McMahon with WW, and you're like, wait, he's totally gone. He sold all of his stocks. With the Global Force Wrestling promotion that is owned by Jeff Jarrett, he's the president. Honestly, Vince McMahon and Jeff Jarrett have been friends for a pretty long time. Even when Jeff Jarrett was in TNA and kind of proclaiming status within the AEW, he ultimately kind of kept him on. I guess even when Paul Levesque took over, like he wanted to hire Jeff as like a kind of like a creative officer. But I guess right now, Jeff Jarrett was still kind of with works with basically with other wrestling promotions. I don't know if he's planning on doing the GFW again. Honestly, I kind of would it make sense if he did so? Yes. Would it make sense if Vince McMahon comes back on his own ego? Yes. And honestly, it'd be kind of cool to see Vince McMahon come back. And like I said before, he never really had that farewell tour in WWE. Obviously, what happened with the Janelle Grant lawsuit. And by all means, those who totally think of him as a POS, absolutely 110%. I feel you, dog. I feel you. But, as a diehard wrestling fan and from the Attitude Era, I've seen Vince McMahon, what he's done for wrestling has been pretty good despite all that, creepy stuff. But honestly, I kind of wish he could come out and address the WWE universe and be like, "Look, dog, I effed up. You know, I want to make sure you guys understand that you guys are basically the lifeblood of WWE. 110%. 110%. The fans, the audience, you people watching right now are definitely some things that keep the wrestling world afloat. Definitely, obviously people have that, state of mind or that phrase or that saying that money makes the world go round. Well, the audience makes the world of wrestling go round because without the audience, they would obviously have no ticket sales, no merchandise, sales or anything like that. And honestly, I think 1,010%, if Vince McMahon had a chance to come back to do what he had to do, it would be pretty awesome. And I see, you're the best on there on the chat. Hi, what's up? Hope y'all doing well. It's a beautiful Friday night. I hope you guys have a pretty good, plans for the weekend. If you don't, the plans will come to you. Sometimes the best plans are those that just come to you. Sometimes you plan the weekend. You're like, oh, let's pack up everybody for the beach. Let's do this and that and the other. But then like some things that just like randomly happen. Sometimes the random things are the funniest things. But moving on. Vince McMahon. I love my fans. I love the audience. I love everybody tuning in right now. So 1,010%. I love you guys. Next, we're going to talk about, as well, like I said before, he sold his TKO stocks for billions of dollars, which is kind of like the formula, like kind of like way AEW's Tony Khan did to ultimately like start his own wrestling promotion. And and honestly, I just think that if Vince McMahon is going to start a WW, like God, see, there we go again, a wrestling promotion he has the money, definitely has a lot of money to kind of do so. Like you could pay these guys millions of dollars. A lot of people will get thrown like $10 million in their face and kind of be like, that's a lot of money. That's pretty cool, especially for wrestlers. Wrestlers, I don't know if any of you guys are, pursuing a career in wrestling, but it's a very cutthroat system. A lot of competition, a lot of potential like money that could be thrown at you. Although it's kind of hard because you can't really have a say so, and that's for any sports athlete out there. Absolutely, 110%. Like look at some of these NFL stars that are fighting for contract extensions or fighting for a new contract. You have to realize that you kind of have to watch your own ass here. Like you know what I mean? Like I know you want to be part of a team. I know you want to be kind of broadcasted all over the United States as like a huge player, a huge team player, but an injury can happen, something unfortunate, and then you just get dropped off like that. There goes the consistent money. There goes your consistent like lifestyle, and then mostly, people kind of hit it hard. I know Charles Barkley kind of relates to me when it comes to that, but like I said before, this is a wrestling podcast. I don't want to get too much kind of into it. I love the American Nightmare 2010%. So the Global Force Wrestling were founded in 2014 by Jeff Jarrett, who is a former WWE TNA wrestler, former president of TNA Wrestling, along with his wife Karen Jarrett, who actually owned and operated. They were operated by the parent company of Global Force Entertainment. So they merged with TNA in the April of 2017. Impact Wrestling, eventually assumed the name of the GFW. Obviously, that didn't last. And they basically have not ran any events since October of 2018. So honestly, it's kind of funny how, well, not funny because, kind of sucks when any business goes under. But 2018, 2019, that's kind of when AEW's promotion, Tony Khan, kind of took over and was like, hey, we're going to challenge the WWE. We're going to do this. Obviously, you kind of have Vince's creative team in disarray. And it was kind of an easy promotion to kind of fight. But, in recent times, they've kind of had a little bit of kind of a hard time keeping up with the ratings in terms of WWE. So, you know, the Global Force of Wrestling was indeed working on agreements with Lucha Libre, AAA Worldwide, New Japan Wrestling, New Japan Professional Wrestling, multiple European wrestling promotions, South African promotional World Wrestling professionals. I guess the World Wrestling, the WWP was kind of like their thing, and South African promotions as well, Australia and New Zealand. So honestly, this is kind of cool how they were able to try to make agreements and try to make partnerships with just wrestling promotions all around the world, which is absolutely pretty cool, absolutely awesome. GFW's they actually presented a New Japan Professional Wrestling pay-per-view, Wrestle Kingdom at Tokyo Dome, where it featured commentary from good old Jay Ross and Matt Striker. Matt Striker's on Impact Wrestling. Global Force Wrestling featured superstars such as Brian Myers, Bobby Roode, Chuck Taylor, Cody Rhodes, Colt Cabana, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Eric Young, Johnny Gargano, Mickey James, Nick Aldis, Moose, Shelton Benjamin, Scott Steiner, Tessa Blanchard, and Cowboy James Storm. Complete big names. Absolutely and 110% big names through the wrestling, through WWE. I've seen just like talking about those names. I've thought of WWE, WWE NXT, Ring of Honor. I thought of Impact Wrestling. So they've had players in the past. They've absolutely had players. So honestly, it kind of makes you think that how would they get talent to kind of go to their promotion? It'd be a little hard, and plus it'd kind of be hard for Jeff Jarrett to kind of make an alliance with Anthem Wrestling or Anthem Sports, which is the company that owns Impact Wrestling. And I kind of thought of if the WWE NXT UK was kind of like a brand that, kind of peaked all over, kind of like not necessarily the Western Hemisphere, but more like, the Eastern Hemisphere in terms of out there during like I said before, South Africa, you had India, New Zealand, Australia, France. Like, imagine if all those guys had a chance to kind of showcase their abilities. That would be so awesome. That would be so cool. I wouldn't, that'd be awesome. And another thing that I kind of thought about was Brock Lesnar did not want to return to the WWE, even if he was cleared by the Janelle Grant Janelle Grant lawsuit, and this was actually reported that he doesn't want to return to WWE because Vince is not there. What if Vince picks up the GFW? What if he has a big name star like Brock Lesnar to kind of bring in merchandise and kind of bring in stuff like that? So you'd have Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon ultimately like trying to bring in like kind of like what the 80s had with Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon and Hulk back in the day. I don't know if they're too ballsy to do it. I don't know if they want to do it, but I don't know. I just think it's pretty interesting, and I think if Vince McMahon wants to make a job, honestly, I think it's too much of a risk for him to do so. If I was his financial advisor or public relations representative, I'd be like, "Look, Vince, right now you kind of have an out. You kind of have an out, bro. Take it. Take the money. Take the billions and billions of dollars you're making off of your TKO stocks that you're selling, and just retire somewhere and relax with your wife. Spend time with the grandkids, and ultimately, like, I know you didn't get to leave professional wrestling the way you wanted it, but honestly, this is not too bad to leave it. So, before we go anywhere, we have a couple of minutes left, and I know I kind of went a little haywire with our past segments, but we're going to kind of finish it off with our wrestling news roundup. Kind of giving you guys some wrestling news to kind of jump into the weekend to kind of think about and ponder. So, hey, don't go anywhere.